Welcome back for the second segment of the April 8th Trips and Traps. Andy Serling, Eric Donovan, and we're going to take a look at the last two stakes we ran on the big day Saturday.
Two of the most important races we've run here, the two most important races we've run here in New York all year, and certainly the Wood Memorial with implications on the Kentucky Derby. One of the favorites, I Want Revenge, actually went off in this race at 1-2, and we're going to see I Want Revenge break from the inside here and get off a couple lengths slow.
Yeah, we thought we'd show you the head-on, a shot maybe many of you had never seen, and basically, I mean, he turned his head a little bit, but he just didn't come out of the gate. It was just one of those things. I mean, you always have to worry when you see horses not come out of the gate, because sometimes it's a bad indication, but clearly the way I Want Revenge has been running, I don't know what a bad indication is for him, because he is just a beast right now.
Absolutely, and I'm sure by the time everyone's watching this, everyone knows that I Want Revenge went on to win this race by a length and a half. So, you know, he overcomes the trouble at the start here. He's in behind horses, and we talked a little bit about it before we came on. Joe Talamo has just done an excellent job here, and we're going to see the other horse that we're taking a look at in this race of 6, just a coincidence, going 4 wide into the first turn here.
Yeah, I thought he was the one horse that, besides, of course, the winner wasn't a surprise, but you can't, I don't know if surprise, you can never use the word, but with a horse like him, he was 1-2, but he runs remarkably. But just a coincidence, maybe the one horse in this race that ran a little bit better than you would have thought coming in the race. He never got a breather. He was 4 wide in the first turn. He was up chasing the pace and, you know, and sort of very close here, wide the whole way. Thought he ran okay, but everybody's performance, no matter how well you ran, is overshadowed by I Want Revenge.
I Want Revenge still running in last place here, but Talamo doesn't panic. He just keeps I Want Revenge in a spot where he's comfortable. He thinks that he's got the horses measured in front of him here, knowing that he's got better stock than pretty much anyone else in the race, maybe with the exception of Imperial Council, who is sitting second at this point. But now you see I Want Revenge start to make the move under Talamo, moving up in between horses there, and just a coincidence is still stuck out in about the 3 or 4 path.
Yeah, no question about it. And I Want Revenge gets it. Just, you know, look, I Want Revenge won the race because he's a superior animal and better than these horses. However, Joe Talamo did absolutely nothing wrong when given a very lousy situation at the start of this race, because he patiently handles the horse, he stays inside, he doesn't panic, doesn't feel a need to be out in the clear making that 4 or 5 wide senseless move. He sits in behind horses. It's a very long stretch, and he needs a lot of it to get out, but eventually you get it. Now, you've got on the outside West Side Bernie. Of course, Just Coincidence is basically making the lead here. West Side Bernie is moving up the outside of him and looks like he can win. Some people might say, well, Stewie Elliott could have kept in I Want Revenge. Well, you know what? West Side Bernie's been running a tough race as well, and he's drifting also, and I Want Revenge gets that little hole he needs, and he shows his superiority.
Remarkable horse, and in my book, this is why he's my top horse for the Derby, because he can overcome some trouble, as he showed in here today. He ran up on the pace in the Gotham. He came from off the pace in here, came from off the pace in some of his races in California, too. I like what he's shown. He's just not a horse that's going to get all crazy if he's in behind horses, have to get to the outside and run off. He can settle, and you know what? In a 20-horse field in the Kentucky Derby, it's great to see a horse that can take things so much in stride, and a jockey who's young and doesn't have a ton of experience be able to take things in stride as well.
No, I couldn't agree more with you. And you know, we don't want to sit here and belabor the obvious, but agree that the way this horse settled so easily, very often you see a horse in a situation like that and they just get so rank, they take themselves out of the race, and whatever they asked I Want Revenge to do, he did. It's hard to believe that he's a 3-year-old running in April. To be perfectly honest, he runs like a mature horse, and as you said, he's shown that he can overcome trouble, and that's something we talk about a lot, especially with horses that are shorter prices in a big race like the Derby. Well, this horse has had a perfect trip. Things have really gone his own way. Let's see what happens when he gets to the Derby, when invariably they won't. Well, this horse has shown that so far he can overcome whatever happens to him and still run very fast races.
Well, talking about fast races and fast horses, one more race to do here on Trips and Traps, and that will be the Carter, the 10th race from Saturday. And Tale of EKATI, certainly one of the favorites in the race, because it looked like there was going to be a hot pace on the paper, but Tale of EKATI pretty much eliminated here right at the start.
He does get eliminated, but boy, did he throw in a clunker regardless. But we thought we'd show you head on. He breaks a step slow. Biker Boy comes out, gives him a big slam here. We'll go back to the pan. You'll see him steadying here, but Tale of EKATI still did not run a step, even with this trouble in the race. And there he is steadying back. And of course, I think some of the story of the race with Tale of EKATI steadying back is 2 things happen. Fabulous Strike obviously goes for the lead, and he's a hard luck loser because he just ran his eyeballs out. And Driven by Success, who was outside of him the whole way in this pace, also ran well, but True Quality, He just does not have any speed whatsoever in this race. And CeCe Lopez has asked him out of the gate. He breaks cleanly. And believe me, if CeCe didn't go to the lead in this horse, you'd be seeing him, because a horse like this, as fast as he is, he's not going to take back so kindly on his own. The bottom line is that for whatever reason, True Quality had no speed in this race. And I wonder where he goes down the road, and I don't know where Tale of EKATI's going.
Yeah, Tale of EKATI, certainly a no-show when this race finishes. Last really never gets going at all in the race, and we see the eventual winner all the way toward the back there, KODIAK Cowboy. You know, the pace is just so hot in here. Both horses driven by Success, Fabulous Strike. I think their best game is 6 furlongs. I think they're both, nice horses that can go 7 furlongs with the right kind of scenario, but not quite sure this is the right kind of scenario. Those two going at each other, 22-1, 44-2. And, not to take anything away from KODIAK Cowboy. He's a nice horse. He's certainly a Grade 1 caliber horse, and, has his Grade 1 win now and makes this wide move. But you know what? He got an absolutely perfect trip. You couldn't ask for a better trip than what he got.
No question about it. And at this point, you think that KODIAK Cowboy is just going to mow them down and win by a length and a half or two. He lugs in a little bit there, and he just doesn't really give the run. And like you say, you don't want to take anything away from him. He's a very nice horse. But there's no question in watching this race that the moral victor, at least, is Fabulous Strike, because he holds on so well and almost wins this race. I don't know about KODIAK Cowboy going forward. Going forward, I'll be looking to bet against him, because he's not getting a better setup than this in any of his races. And I'm not sure he's effective going a mile. I mean, maybe they're going to look at going in the Met Mile, but the last I heard is Larry Jones saying he would point to the Forego, which makes some sense. I'm not saying they shouldn't try the Met Mile. It's a very big race, and he certainly has the ability to win. But I didn't think this race was that impressive. I think, like a lot of people, we come out of this race feeling like Fabulous Strike was a big victor in this race.
Yeah, unfortunately, Fabulous Strike does not come away with the win for if you're a fan of his. But KODIAK Cowboy, they tried the Cigar Mile with him in the fall. He didn't run particularly well in there. He was beaten by Harlem Rocker and Tale of EKATI in there. I think maybe 7 furlongs might be his limitation. So I'd be a little suspect of him if he showed up in the Met as well. And I think next time out, even in a sprint race, if there's another horse that shows some decent form that can close a little bit, they're going to be a much bigger price than KODIAK Cowboy. If the pace is going to be hot, I would be tempted to go with that other horse.
I agree. I am looking to bet against KODIAK Cowboy in the future. I just don't know how he gets a better deal, and we don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves. The Forego is being run Labor Day weekend. We've got some good races coming up before that, and we'll probably see him again. Very interesting race, though, and an enjoyable race. And once again, we appreciate your watching Trips and Traps. That email address is tripsandtraps@NYRAinc.com. You can access both myself and Eric. One of us or both of us would be happy to respond to you. We love to hear what you say, and we really do appreciate your watching the show.